Dayspring is what would happen if you turned a monastery into a tech business.
Could we be Christians all the time in our workplace?
It was something very compelling to me. I actually literally said, I would take out the trash for Dayspring.
We like to be a little crazy about the gospel, living out the gospel.
Embodying and bearing witness to God's redeeming of the workplace, marketplace, and community. And it's kind of crazy, but as a technology company.
Chi Ming was walking down the corner. I was like, who is this guy with a clipboard? I saw him walk past my shop. Actually walking this corridor where people are mainly afraid to walk, like, oh my God.
The company gave me a gift of sabbatical, and one of the things that I thought to do was to spend 2 days a week just walking the streets. And it was off of that idea of, in order to love a place, you need to know it. In order to know it, you need to learn it. So you got to spend time. So I popped my head in wherever there appeared to be welcome, seeing if there were people of peace, I think, really.
Dayspring's in San Francisco, California, particularly in the Bayview neighborhood, which is a place that we love very much, but other people may have ideas that it's the kind of place you might avoid. Dayspring choosing to be in the Bayview neighborhood comes out of the relationship between Dayspring, the company, and Redeemer, the church.
We were asking the question, what does it look like for Dayspring to practice being a good neighbor? Downtown really isn't a neighborhood in that sense. It doesn't have that kind of network of relationships that is required for a neighborhood.
Dayspring was finishing up their lease, and Redeemer was also finishing up our stint sharing space at another church. And we were asking, where do we go next? And Chi Ming came to me and said, what do you think about us sharing space together?
And I was actually pretty surprised that the response unanimously was, that sounds like a great idea. At which point I felt like, that sounds like a terrible idea. We're gonna move a professional consulting services organization from smack in the middle of downtown financial district, and we're gonna move it to the hood.
It was hard for, I think, people that I grew up with and also like my family to hear that I was moving here. I had actually grown up being told, don't go to the Bayview, it's dangerous.
It's the place that gets left off of tourist maps. Literally, if you look at a tourist map of San Francisco, it just wouldn't be on there.
It has higher unemployment, about double the rest of the city. It has higher levels of poverty.
Part of the history of Bayview, as well as other places like Bayview, is the kind of business that comes to a neighborhood and says, okay, we're gonna save what a fill in the blank, we're gonna fix ... But for us, we want to come as people, and people who are interested in other folks in the neighborhood, things that have already been going on.
What we recognize is that God has been here at work for a long, long time. So we really see ourselves as participating in the work of God.
Hey.
Sorry, I'm late.
So the first loan is Simon's. You paid off your first loan.
So Neighbor Fund, for example, it came out of wanting to enable Chi Ming to have a sabbatical. And during his sabbatical, he just walked the streets of Bayview and met with people. And out of those conversations, heard that one of the significant challenges small business owners in our area face is that kind of initial capital. For a business that already has an idea, maybe has an existing small client base, but doesn't necessarily have the kind of credit history or even the size of loan that they're looking for that a bank would be interested in.
The idea of Neighbor Fund was to be good neighbors by participating in the economy of the place, seeing money as part of how we could join the life of the community.
We don't look for credit scores. We want them to have a meal with us. We get to hear their story. We get to share our own stories.
I needed to make a change, and that change for me was to acquire an oven so I can bake out of my store. And I needed an SUV so I can make deliveries versus renting a U-Haul. And I'm proud to sit here before you and say I've paid off one loan of $5,000, and I just became a recipient of a second loan of $2,500. I don't know if everyone knows about Dayspring and what they're doing over here, but I don't know if they're about tooting their own horn. They're about helping people.
I might add, just adding that instead of reducing it.
Dayspring Technology is a core consulting services firm. We build complex applications to solve difficult technical problems. We do consulting work for Golden State Warriors, for UCSF, life science research companies. Second business unit is our Good Budget product, and this basically is a household budgeting platform and helps, in particular, couples to budget together. Roughly 4.5 million downloads to date. And then finally, our Salesforce consulting unit, which focuses on serving nonprofits with customization and configuration of the Salesforce consulting platform.
Dayspring was established with a set of core values where they said, okay, even if these values, holding these values penalize us in the market, we're still going to hold to them. Justice, generosity, integrity, mercy, dependence on God, partnership in the gospel. Those core values were set out up front. Even if these lose us money, even if these cause us to go under, we're going to hold to these.
Part of being a business is that we are interconnected with everyone and every organization around us, that we're not just here to gather as much as possible for ourselves, for our own profit, but to build relationships. At the core, we are people and other folks are people too.
What we're doing is investing in an ecosystem in the Bayview. That ecosystem includes Dayspring, a business that's committed to the good of the Bayview, because we do think that there's a way in which a business in the marketplace ought to live out a calling to be Christian.